Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel. This is Business Connections Live with Steve Hyland.
Hello there, welcome along. This is Business Connections Live, the program for entrepreneurs, SMEs and business owners. And it's great to have your company as always. Got a fantastic guest with me today. It's a beautiful sunny Wednesday. Here we are, we're all still in lockdown and we're all still panicking about how we're going to come out of this. How are we going to come out of this? I decided I needed an expert to give us some advice on how we market ourselves out of this. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today. So instead, we've got Steve Mills. Steve, lovely to have you on the program today.
It's great to be here, Steve, and that was a fantastic. I was all getting excited about the build-up there, you know, but great to be here and really looking forward to our conversation.
All right, well, it's going to be a cracking show today, and I'm sure that a lot of people are going to get a lot out of the different advice and the pieces of advice that you're going to be giving us today. Where do you see things at the moment, Steve? I mean, what is the current situation as far as you're aware? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? I mean, it's been a different kind of situation that we've found ourselves in. So, you know, what is going to happen?
Well, you know, everybody doesn't need me to tell you all about, you know, the fact that this is the first time in, I think, history that we've been in such a situation. And, you know, my heart goes out to all those people, firstly, who've been, you know, touched by this. They've had, you know, people pass away and so on and so forth. But if you think of it from a business context, I think you've got three groups of people or three groups of businesses. The first one are those who've actually been closed down. You know, they're no longer running. You know, people like shops and health clubs and restaurants and so on that are just, you know, the government said you need to close down and not run your business anymore. We've then got these businesses that you know are struggling away. You know, they're trying to survive. Maybe they've got some of their staff are sidelined at the moment, and they're running on a shoestring. And you know, again, going through tough times. And then we've got the businesses who are actually going fantastically well. You know, if you sell hand sanitizer, you probably have your best time ever in the last few months. But you know, as we come out of this lockdown, and hopefully we'll continue to do that, I think one of the biggest challenges that we've got as businesses is really getting back to some form of normality. Because in my opinion, if we don't get back to normality quickly, then this is not only going to affect businesses, but actually the whole economy. You know, if my business turns over, I don't know, £1 million a month, and all of a sudden now we're down to 100,000 a month, and I've got 30 people working for me, and we crank back up again. All of a sudden, you know, I'm not going to be able to afford to even employ those people until and unless I start to see some significant progress towards that. So it's a very fine balancing act, I think, we're in at the moment, Steve.
It's very much a chicken and egg situation, isn't it?
From where we are to where we want to go.
Very much a chicken and egg situation, isn't it? The horse before the cart. We're not quite certain exactly how we're going to move forward from this. There's been a lot of noise out there. There are a lot of people who are coming up out of the, you know, from the background, effectively, and they're the ones that are coming forward and they're saying that they are the experts in this. And I'm not putting you in that group at all, because I've known you for a number of years, and what you do is you have positive results for companies that are trying to raise the amount of money that they are making, the profits that they make. But it seems that there is a lot of noise in this marketplace at the moment with supposed experts who are coming out from this hidden quarter, who seem to have all the answers, but actually none of the expertise or the experience. What would you say about being cautious then to business owners?
Well, firstly, I totally agree. I'm certainly not an expert in this in any way. My expertise, as you know, is around sales and marketing. But my belief is that, if you sit back right now and don't really do anything in terms of sales and marketing, we're not going to all of a sudden wake up one day and be back to normal. My business is fine now. I'm just going to carry on. That's not going to happen. What we must do to get ourselves from where we are now, even back to where we want to be, and hopefully beyond that, to grow our businesses, we've got to commit to selling and marketing. We've got to commit to getting more sales in, because when my restaurant starts and opens up in a few weeks' time, it's encouraging. How am I going to get people back into my restaurant? When my business, if I was, an accountant, and all of a sudden I've lost, a third of my customers, what am I going to do to get those people back? And it really, I believe, comes down to sales and marketing. But this has really got to be, we've got to be better than we've ever been before. Indeed. And, we cannot be back in a situation for most businesses where they even marketed themselves in the same way. Again, the world has changed, and you only need to examine statistics like, for example, the use of the internet. I've not got the actual stats in front of me right now, but I do know the whole thing has just exploded. We're using the internet more than we've ever done. We're shopping online, we're buying online, we're browsing online, and we're using this a phenomenal amount of time. And the same is true with social media. We're, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, just perceiving, getting an unbelievable amount of additional traffic and use. We were just talking before we came online about Zoom. Don't you wish you'd bought shares in Zoom back in December? Yes. The use of it is just, it's 10, 20 times. My dad and stepmom, are on Zoom.com in their 80s and 90s, and more people are using it literally every day. And when all this finishes, do you think we're just going to go back to how we were? I absolutely don't think so. I think the whole world has changed, and the whole marketing world and the business world needs to A, change, and B, start to really take action now.
Couple of comments.
If I was opening sorry, Steve, go on.
I was going to say a couple of comments have come in from that. Antonio Falco, he says, is this going to be the new normal? Because it has changed out there. It is different the way things are at the moment. And that kind of, people are going to operate in a very, very different way. I know we as a business will probably operate Business Connections Live in probably a different way afterwards. It's allowed us to step back for a moment and to have a look at the way our methods of operandi. So we've pulled back, and I'm sure a lot of businesses are going to be doing that. And that could be any industry as well. That could be restaurants all the way through to engineering companies. Another thing that Antonio says as well is, how will business to business sales change? That's the other thing that's going to be very different from now on, because, we're not going to have these large establishments. We're not going to have these large, maybe not have these large headquarters. I mean, there's always this danger that we'll end up going through all of this and just go back and it'll all be the same again.
That is certainly a possibility, and I think there will be more people obviously going back to working in offices and so on and so forth. But my belief, my own personal belief, is that we're going to see a lot more people working from home. We're going to see a lot less travel. People are now. I got clients who are using Zoom or other online communication tools. And they're using it for the first time, and they're going, oh, wow, I've been using this for years, I probably, even before all this happened, probably 90% of my meetings were online meetings. So I've got clients all over not quite the world, but certainly in the UK. And I've got several clients, over in Dubai and so on and so forth. And we've been using this technology for years and years. So I think the use of technology is going to massively increase. And, I think if anything good can come out of this, I think things like the planet and the way the atmosphere and things, it seems as though pollution is actually dropping right now, and that's obviously got to be a good thing. So hopefully, if we carry on with this, let's say reduced travel, that'll make the whole pollution of the planet much better than it is or has been in the past.
All right, let's talk a little bit then about what people are doing and what they can do and be doing right now, in fact, for themselves. What is the right thing to be actually contemplating at the moment? What should they be doing?
Well, again, it depends on the situation. Which group are you in? Are you closed and looking to open? Are you open but struggling? Or are you doing fantastically well? But the bottom line is, I think with all those people, they need to, certainly from a sales and marketing perspective, they need to take a look at their business and work out what are they actually doing? What are the results that they're achieving? And then clearly, how can they improve the effectiveness of the actions that they're taking? How can they get a better result from their current sales and marketing? And that's what I specialized in for 25 years. And it's something that I'm really pushing at the moment with my clients and people that I come in contact with. And I strongly recommend to the listeners today, don't be satisfied with the results that you're currently getting. As you know, Steve, I come from a sporting background, and when you play sport, I played table tennis at international level, and the one thing you've got to do when you're playing sport at that level is always push the boundaries. How can I get a 5%, a 2%, 1% improvement in a particular area of my game? And that's what we've got to do in our businesses. That's what we've got to do in our sales and our marketing. We've got to become better at the sales and marketing game.
All right. Listen, Steve, hold the thought for a moment if you can, and we'll come back to you in just a few moments' time here on this edition of Business Connections Live. It's great to have your company as always, and thank you very much to all the people who are watching the program today. It's good to have you with us as well. And let's go back a week. We had a great show last week. We had Antonio Falco. I'm not saying that this week isn't a great show, but we had a great show last week with Antonio Falco. He is, of course, the sales director. He came away and gave us some really good advice on what we should be considering when it comes to how we start to rack in the sales. And that's why I felt today was so important to have Steve Mills on the program, because if you read the bit of blurb that's online, it says, you can bring a horse to water, but can you make it drink? Bringing the horse to water really is your marketing. Making it drink is your sales, asking for the order. And I thought that was a really good simile between what we're trying to talk about. So last week, we were talking about actually asking for the order. How do you increase your sales? And Antonio Falco gave some fantastic advice. So my thanks to Antonio. And just to give you the key takeaways from last week's program, very short this, but it was to the point, it was very concise, and it gave the information that we really needed. Or at least we will do in just a few moments' time. Just 1 second, caller, and this should be it now.
Well, I'm going to take the opportunity, Steve, and not talk about me. People can look me up and just Google my name. I'm more interested in you as a business. We're going to need you going forward. So please take the opportunity of doing the things I've said in this program. Review your business, understand what you're about, figure out how you can get better, and figure out what your customers are going to need from you in the future. Look back at some of your customers, see if you can go and sell them another product or service, an additional add-on, if you will. But most of all, take heart that we'll get through this. You will have a business at the other end of this. You will be successful. And I'm not just saying that because it's the right thing to do. I just think if you've already taken the plunge, you've already had the gumption to actually start a business. And what you've got to remember is that you've got more guts and gumption that most people that run corporations, remember, most people who run corporations are employees. You're actually an owner who's had the gumption to put it all on the line and actually make something out of nothing. If you've done that already, believe me, you've got what it takes to go forward.
Antonio Falco there on last week's edition of Business Connections Live. It was an absolutely cracking show with Antonio. And I think what I like about Antonio is he just talks up the way we feel about what we're doing and what we should be doing. If we, there was an interesting article actually in the press over the weekend where Lord Sugar, I think it was on Facebook as well, Lord Sugar sort of said, will the reporters and the journalists please stop talking everything down? Because there is this kind of feel at the moment that we are just talking everything down. We're making it as bad as we possibly can. And I do wonder sometimes if we revel in that, in this self-destructive process that we sometimes go through as a country. Leaving Brexit, we're all doomed. Well, maybe we're not. We're in the middle of a coronavirus. All the businesses are all going to be to the wall. They'll never survive. Well, maybe they will. And the trouble is that we just tend to, at the moment, I think, talk ourselves down a teeny weeny bit. By the way, if you're enjoying today's program, you'd like to be involved with the show, if you'd like to get on the show, if you want to leave a comment, you can go onto LinkedIn, on the Facebook, on the YouTube, and you can type in your comments there. If you've got a question for Steve, then we can put the question to him as well. If you'd like to be on the program, you can always contact us here. Now, this may or may not work at the moment, but you can drop us an email to it didn't work, studio at businessconnectionslive.com, or if you want, you can pick the phone up and give us a call on 01784 256 777. And don't forget, you can always go to our website at businessconnectionslive.com, where you can find out more about what we do and the different programs. There's over 400 hours of great business advice there, so do go along to our website. My guest on today's show is Steve Mills. He's a nice bloke. He is, well, for a long time, he was a marketeer. The prudent marketeer you were for a long time. Some people may still know you as that, mightn't they?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. We changed our brand and the use of that. We were the prudent marketer in and around the 2008. But people needed to be more prudent in that massive financial crash back then. So we rebranded as the prudent marketer, and then just felt coming out of that. That things had changed and that was no longer appropriate. Perhaps we need to go back into it, Steve. I don't know, but hopefully not.
It does make you think, though, doesn't it? Because the way things are, it does make you feel that perhaps maybe that would be the right way to be moving forward. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, because here we are, we're where we are today, and you are still turning businesses around. You are still earning them thousands of pounds. You are still increasing their bottom line. But for a business owner who is watching this, be it someone who's got a small industrial unit and he relies on maybe 20 or 30 different individual customers, to someone who's in retail, to somebody who is a consultant, and there are many business consultants out there who specializes in training. What would be your advice to them? What would be the starting point to get them moving?
Okay, well, the first thing I'd say is, when you get, you open, if you've been closed, or you're struggling and want to get to the next level, I'd go with what is your low-hanging fruit. Now, what I mean by that are things like the leads that you've not followed up, the LinkedIn contacts that you've not been in touch with, the email database that you've not really been communicating with, your past clients who you haven't spoken to for 6 months, your current clients who perhaps need a little bit of TLC and you need to become better at the management of those. So in my experience, one of the things that I find when I work with people, there's always at least a small pot of gold just waiting there to be asked for, and that would be step one. Step two would be around what can you do that you're already doing that you could improve the effectiveness of. Now, if you're like most businesses, you're probably on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and maybe a few other social media sites. You've probably got a website. You may be doing email marketing. You might be exhibiting and going networking. So you've got like 4, 5, or 6 marketing strategies that you're currently using, and that's great. However, if they're making profit for you, then brilliant. But often people say, well, I'm doing Facebook advertising, but it's not really working for me. Or I'm doing Google pay-per-click advertising, but I'm not really getting any business from it. So the number one thing is, I think, to probably stop doing what's not working. And let's focus on one thing. Let's focus on one thing. We've not got the time, money, and effort right now to do, like, let's say, multiple things. Do 6 things. Doesn't mean you should stop all 6. Maybe you stop one of them that's not actually working, and you're going to focus on another one to really get it to the next level. Let me give you an example. Let's say that one of your strategies at the moment is the use of email marketing, which a lot of people say to me, well, email doesn't work anymore. Email marketing, sending emails out to people, it doesn't work. Well, I'm here to tell you, it absolutely does. It doesn't always work. As you know, one of my key sayings, Steve, is it's not that you're doing the wrong marketing, it's that you're doing the right marketing in the wrong way. And that's what's happening with a lot of small businesses. They're doing the right marketing in the wrong way. So to do email marketing in the right way, or to get a better result from it, step one is, I'd say, who you're targeting. How much time, money, and effort have you spent on growing that list? If you've got a list of 1,000 people and grew it to 2,000, then potentially you could double the amount of people who you win from email marketing. If you then send emails out and you send more emails out, if you're in a business that sends out like a quarterly newsletter, do you know what? It's never really going to work. So you need to keep in touch with people on a more regular basis. And email's a great way of doing that. If you're open rate,
can I interrupt you, because I don't.
Yeah.
The thing that I find interesting about what you're saying there is that, so we're looking at email marketing. Is there any platform? Is there any method that you see as being the most successful? Which is the one that you reckon really works? Is direct marketing? Which one do you use?
Steve, as you know, but the one that I'm a real big fan of right now is HubSpot. I really like HubSpot. I think it's great. If anybody's interested in that, go to HubSpot, HUBSPOT.com, and you can get access to it for free. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a great CRM system. It'll do email marketing, sign-up pages, landing pages, campaigns. It's an amazing tool, and you can get access to the entry-level product for free. And to be honest, anybody who's not got a CRM system, it's a no-brainer.
But I suppose the question I was asking there was that you've talked about a number of different platforms. So if you're doing pay-per-click and it's not working, don't do pay-per-click. So there are a number of different ways that you can go out there and you can actually be using the different services that are available. But from your experience, for a small business owner or a medium-scale business owner, which ones are the most successful? Is it down to the product that they're promoting, if they're a consultant, or if it's a service, or it's whatever it is? So is it using social media? Can you make a business? Can you sell on social media? Is snail mail, sending out flyers and things like that? Does that work? Is that going to open? Is it about growing a database of clients and customers online using things like HubSpot, even using simple stuff like MailChimp? I mean, there are a lot of people out there that probably got things like ActiveCampaign and Confusionsoft. And they're using that, and in fact, MailChimp would be quite significant or quite sufficient for them. I mean, what would be your advice to them?
Well, it comes back to what I said a few moments ago around it's not that you're doing the wrong marketing, you're doing the right marketing in the wrong way. All those things you mentioned work, but they don't always work. So you need to improve them. Now, if you pin me down and said, right, Steve, what's the best form of marketing on the planet? I'd still say, even though I'm, mega into technology and digital world and everything, I still say it's referral. Winning business from word of mouth is still, in my opinion, the number one way of winning business. But again, the system that most businesses have is that they do a good job and they hope that people will recommend them. Now, some people will, but most people won't, and so what I do when I'm working with people is go, right, okay, let's have a look at this thing called referral. How do we get more of it? Who can we ask? Who are the top 20 people that your listeners today could, after this video, pick up the phone and call and ask for a referral?
Does that really work though? I mean, a lot of the gurus.
The phone.
Be quiet. Shut up. My turn.
Right,
a lot of the gurus.
I'm getting carried away.
You're getting carried away there.
Yeah,
but that's what a lot of the gurus would say, isn't it? A lot of the gurus would say, go and ask for the referral. So why do we get it so wrong? Why is it so difficult for us then to go out and ask for those referrals? Is it a case that we just don't like talking to people? Angus Grady would say we don't like picking the phone up and calling them, do we?
Yeah,
so what we want to do is we want to do everything online.
Yeah. Well, it's easier, isn't it? I've had clients again who I've told to do this, and they've said, "Yeah, I've done it, Steve." And what they've actually done is they've emailed them. They've sent them an email asking for a referral, and they've had no response. Surprise, surprise. Why don't they do it? I think it's just it's like most things in life. When you first do it, you're not very good at it. When you're not very good at it, you don't enjoy it and you feel awkward. And the only way to get good at it is to practice. And that's it. Just, as Nike said, just do it.
How many calls a day do you make when you're in normal times?
My goal is to make 10 calls a day, for example, to my LinkedIn contacts. Every day I make 10 calls. Now, in an ideal world, that would be a lot more than that. But, I've got limitations in terms of my time. So I make 10 calls a day, every day.
And what kind of response do you get by doing that? Because I think that's a very clever idea. Instead of going after the thousands, 10 calls a day is still 50 people a week that you've touched and you said hello to.
200 people a month, so it's within, my capabilities. And, the people out there are doing things like, they say, well, I'm on LinkedIn and I do a couple of posts per week on LinkedIn, but I'm not winning any business, Steve. Why is that? And it's because they're doing nothing, relatively speaking. It's like going to the gym and saying, I've done 5 curls this month and my muscles don't seem to be any bigger. I don't know what's wrong. You need to go to the marketing gym, to the LinkedIn gym. You need to do more. You need to push. Particularly now, Steve, with times as they are, it's really tough. And when times are tough, the answer is to do more. Put more time and effort in, and also do it better. Work out what you need to do it better than you've done it before.
All right, so that's referrals then. So what's the next thing that we should be contemplating? It's so we've contacted 200 people this month. We've asked them to do referrals for us. What else can we do then to engage and get our marketing into top gear?
Well, I think if you viewed your website as the hub of your marketing, there are 2 real key performance indicators, KPIs around your website. Number 1 is traffic. How many people are going to that website and what are you doing actively right now to get people to go to your website? And then number 2, and more importantly in a way, is what is the conversion rate? You know, what is your CRO, your conversion rate optimization? So if you get 1,000 people to your website in a day or a month or whatever, how many leads does that equal? Because I see, again, people spending a lot of money on Google pay-per-click advertising, Facebook advertising, LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. I see a lot of people putting time and money and effort into getting people from LinkedIn or Facebook onto their website, to a website that just doesn't convert. So it really starts by saying, how can you improve the conversion rate of your website? And I could talk about that a little bit if you want, Steve.
No, absolutely, because I think
Yeah?
that's important. There are still.
So,
Hang on.
yeah,
There is.
okay.
Okay, just so keen. There are a lot of websites that are out there that are no more than brochure sites, and that's the problem. And it's funny, isn't it? Because when we look at websites, there is. And I suppose we all do it. There's a lot of we, me's out there, not you's. And there are still a lot of sites out there that are going on about how big their factories are and how many people they employ. And so they are no more than brochure sites. So they're not actually asking for any form of call to action, are they?
No. Most web pages don't have a call to action. It's just bizarre. Why wouldn't you do that? I don't know.
When you talk about calls to action, Steve, what do you mean by that? Because a lot of people think
call to action could be anything from, call me now on this telephone number, to fill in your details using the form below, to download this report that I've just written on X, Y, or Z, to sign up to my webinar, which is on Thursday at 12:30, where I'm going to talk about this or that. Or watch this video that I've just produced. There's loads of different calls to action that we could have, but what we've got to do is to get people to do something. And in an ideal world, it'd be sign up and book a meeting with me. Here's a link to my diary, which these days, having an online diary where people can just actively book a meeting is there's loads of different technology around that enables you to do that. So, there's lots of things like that people can do.
I'd be very interested, if you're watching this on LinkedIn at the moment, what's been the most effective form of call to action that you have used either in a form or on your website? And do you do referrals? If you do, just let us know. Just jot it down on LinkedIn. Let us know here, and we'll share it with the community who are watching the program right now. But that'd be really interesting. The most effective call to action that you've used, because there are still a lot of people out there who are using, for more information, call this number. And you can be more imaginative than that, can't you, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you get a lot of pages called our services. Could you not, there's an old saying in advertising, I'm sure you know this, Steve, that the headline is the advert for the advert. And in modern times, the headline of the page is the advert for the web page. And yet the best somebody can come up with is our services, or about us. Even if they said, accountancy services or, landscape gardening services, at least I know what it was about, whereas our services could be anything.
Yes, indeed. Nice getting some response coming in here now. David Richards has just popped up, and he says, marketing isn't about what's in it. This is interesting because this is what you say, Steve. Marketing isn't about what's in it for me. It's about what's in it for them. And I think sometimes when we do our calls to action, they too don't reflect that, do they? That's in fact the problem. People are so looking inwards at what they want to achieve out of what they're putting up there, that they lose sight that in fact it's actually for the customer. That's the reason you're doing it.
It is, yeah, absolutely, 100% correct. I get people often on LinkedIn who will connect to me and then they just send me a message saying, do you want to buy this? Now, there's no relationship there. They have no clue who I am. They have no clue whether I'm interested in it. and they go from, it's like a bunch of strangers. It's like somebody walking up to me in the street saying, "Would you like to buy this?"
Yeah,
The answer is no,
that's right.
until and unless there's a relationship there, a
There's a
shared
very
relations, if you will.
there's a very interesting.
And that's the mistake that I think a lot of businesses make. It's a mistake a lot of websites make. I'm like saying, watch this video, download this report that I've written, sign up to my free webinar. Why am I doing that? Is that because I'm nice? No, it's because I want them to take the next step with me for free to see if I know what I'm talking about.
Well, this is very interesting here. I've realised now if I put my hand up, you stop talking. I like that. I don't think you can hear me as clearly as I think you can. Antonio Falco says the three things on my website: homepage, download my brochure, get a free copy of my book, and watch my latest video. So once again, he's giving some very, very clear calls to action. David Richards again, most effective call to action I've ever had was a poster detailing the definitions of different technologies to consultants. Paperworks. What a great idea. Something that is a physical thing. I'll send it to you. That's a really good idea. I like that one. Who else we got here? Antonio back again. He's saying, once again, sales is not about me. It is about you. Quite right. And thanks very much to Richard Armstrong. This is good stuff. Thank you, Richard. Glad you're enjoying it. And don't forget, the call to action here, Richard, is if you want to find out how Steve can help you, go to his website after the program, but not now. So, okay, let's move on then. Small businesses. It's a bit of an artificial time that we're in at the moment. It's very difficult for them. You're not quite certain whether the other businesses are out there at the moment back at work. It was interesting. I was talking to a company yesterday. Of all their team, nearly all of them were furloughed and only 2 of them were actually working. So is it the right time to be marketing? Or is it this one-to-one marketing that we should be doing, the likes of using LinkedIn, but not doing what you're saying, where we're doing the pitch, we're just making the contacts?
Yeah, well, let's take the example of a business that's closed, or at least virtually closed. They're not one that's struggling away to survive, but they're actually physically closed. So what should you be doing right now? Well, assuming that you're going to be opening up in the next few weeks, or perhaps the next month or so, now is a great time to start growing your contacts. If I ran a restaurant, then it might be a good time to start telling people what I'm doing, assuming I've got maybe a database of past customers, people who've been in there, or I'm on Facebook and I'm on a group on Facebook. And that's a locally based group, and I can start, posting on there, telling them that we're really looking forward to opening in 3 weeks' time, and we've got some special deals to entice people back, and we've had a refurb of the restaurant, and we got a new menu, and you just start to build the excitement to that launch date, But if the restaurant just doesn't do any of that and just opens, even their strongest, most loyal customers are going to probably take a week or two, if not more, to realize that they're actually opened at all.
Yeah.
So even when you're not trading, you're closed down, you should be keeping in touch with people, because people are very, very fickle. And when it comes to then going back to a restaurant, oh, what was that restaurant we used to go to a few months ago? Oh, not really sure. Let's go to another one.
Do you think there's going to be a lot of people out there? You can hear me better now, can't you?
Yeah, I can actually.
Yes, you can. I know you can. I've realised there was a button that I hadn't pressed. But it was interesting. In the radio industry, you always used to say 2 years to build an audience and 10 minutes for them to forget. Do you think there are a lot of businesses out there who are actually, at this moment, being forgotten by their customers?
Absolutely. I'm totally convinced of it. And the ones that will do the best, the quickest, are the ones that basically are doing what we're talking about right now, and not going to just start again, but really get that marketing going, and get that name out there. I've actually over this last few months, I've increased the amount of marketing that I've done, and I've won new business. I've got
Really?
new clients.
This is interesting. Richard's just come back. Richard Armstrong. Here we go. I'll bring that up again. It says here, tell people about your service and how we'll help them. Is that the key? That's a good question, actually. Telling people about your service and how it helps them. Do you think that is the key then to getting it right? So, for instance, when you talk about your business, Steve, you tell businesses that here's what I do, and here's the results that here are the tangible results that you will get from my service. And that's what you do all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The fact that I've got 25 years experience doing this is absolutely of no interest whatsoever to anybody other than myself and maybe a few friends. The truth is, what can I do? What are the results that I can create for a business? And that's all that really matters. That's all they want. They want the result. They don't want somebody to post stuff on LinkedIn. They want inquiries from LinkedIn. That's my belief, and it always has been my belief.
I think that's really very interesting, and I think that's what people are looking for. Are we still stuck in a vanity by numbers, do you feel?
I think there's some truth in that, yeah. But I also would say that one of the biggest problems that businesses face right now, and have always done, I'm talking small businesses, is obscurity. We're just not known by people, and the more we can do to do that, the better. And but back years ago, the best way of getting your business marketed was probably on TV. And then secondly, on radio. That was the way you could get your message out to the masses. And now it's on video and YouTube and on podcasts. They're two great ways that, most businesses are not still really doing, and certainly not doing to the level that they could or should. Perhaps they've got a couple of videos on their website by now, but they're not really using it. They've got no client testimonial videos. They're not producing video on a regular basis. They're not posting videos on social media. They're not doing email video. There's lots of things they could be doing that if they did, could really see them emerging out of this as the leader in their particular niche or their area.
Okay, of those, which ones do you use then? How many videos a week, even through lockdown, have you been making?
I've been making probably somewhere about 5 to 6 videos a week.
Blimey. What kind of duration?
I try to do it every day. It's normally about 5-10 minutes. I do, but here's the key: that of those videos, probably one in 30 are sales videos. Most of them are, I'll take a subject, a little bit like we've been doing now, and say, right, today I'm going to talk about how to improve your LinkedIn profile, or how to get more people to your website. And I take a subject and I deliver it like this, Steve. I'll introduce myself. I'll give a bit of my background to give me a bit of credibility to people who don't know me. I'll then pitch my product really quickly. So I might say, hi, my name's Steve Mills. Thanks for listening to this video. I spent 25 years now helping small businesses. Today, I want to talk to you about how you can get more people from LinkedIn onto your website. Just before I do, next Thursday, I'm running a webinar. It starts at 12 o'clock. It's an hour long of great marketing advice. So if you want to attend that, go to this website. Now, where was I? Yeah, let me talk about LinkedIn and how to do that. Here's my 6 tips, 6 ways of doing that. So I'll go through my 6 ways, and then at the end, I'll do the pitch again. I mean, that's how I do it.
And I think that's really interesting. I think that's really interesting because a lot of people, I think, when they're thinking about making videos and putting them up, and I've watched a lot of the content that you produce, and it is highly polished and very professional.
Well, I take that as a massive compliment from you, Steve.
Highly polished, very
But
professional.
do you know what?
But the
I
thing that's
must say
interesting,
to
you
you,
talk from the heart, though, don't you?
I do.
These a lot of these aren't scripted. Yes, they're bullet pointed, but you talk from the heart with them.
Yeah, yeah. Often I've got a little bit of card here with a few things on, but sometimes I just talk. And I've been doing this, like you. We've been around for a little while, Steve, and I've been doing this for so long now. I know my stuff, and I can almost. I'm not sure I could talk about anything in terms of marketing, but I've got a pretty good knowledge of it, and so I'll just sit down and talk. People say, how long does it take you to do a 10-minute video? So it's about 10 minutes.
I think the thing that's interesting as well is there is a real tendency out there for people to nearly feel that they've got to keep people in suspense for a while. I'm going to tell you the secrets that you need to know, but I'm gonna rattle on for 3 or 4 minutes before I get there. And it was interesting, in the days of doing direct response TV, you would go on and you would go, here is this pair of glasses. If you want to get these glasses, call now if you want these glasses.
Yeah.
Because these glasses would be perfect.
Yeah.
I'm now going to tell you a bit more if you haven't made your mind up yet, because look at the way they open up. Do you want them now? Call now. And it was a number of call to actions all the way through. And I think the way that you're doing your sales and your marketing videos, they do kind of reflect exactly that particular method.
I'm so impressed that you've picked that up, because that's where I got it from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's where I learnt it from.
Fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. You're learning from the pros then, aren't you?
Again, what do most videos do? They go da 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 da, all the information, and then at the end they do the call to action. But at the end, half the people have already left.
That's right. And and they say as well, they if you look at a normal TV presentation that is sales orientated, in the old days they used to be divided into 6 individual sections. And every section would have an introduction and a call to action at the end. So why are we reinventing the wheel? And the reason we're reinventing the wheel is because there are a lot of people out there that are telling you how to do this that don't know how to do this.
Yes, yeah. You're absolutely right. I mean, I've always said, and I always remember many years ago listening to Tony Robbins, and he's got this like 5 keys to being successful, and the 5th one, the one I wanted to talk about, is modeling other people. Find somebody who's got what you want, do the same things, get the same results. It's like if you want to develop an e-commerce website, the first bit of advice I'd give you is go and have a look at this website called Amazon. They've got a rough idea what they're doing in e-commerce. Is there anything you can learn from them? If you're looking at design, what about looking at Apple? Is there anything we can learn from Apple, in terms of how we could design our website or our brand? One of the most famous brands in the world. I'm sure there's something we can learn from them. So I thought, right, who's really good at selling on video? And I thought, well, it's all these shopping channels and that they've been around for years and years. They're experts at it. Let's have a look at what they do and get the same results. And I did that, Steve, when I was 14 at playing table tennis. I thought, right, who's the best players? Let me go and watch them. Let me practice with them and spend time learning what they do, and let's see how I can do the same things and hopefully get the same or similar results to them.
All right, hold that thought for a moment, you. We're going to come back to you in just a few moments' time. Are you familiar with Will King at all?
Am I? Yes, indeed.
Will King, he is the king of shaves. We had him on the program, oodles and oodles ago. We had him on the program. It was a fantastic show that we actually had with Will King. Thoroughly enjoyed having him on the show. And he was talking about how to grow and build a business in difficult times. And I thought, well, wouldn't that be a great recap to be looking at, considering the circumstances that we all find ourselves in at the moment. So with his key takeaways from his program, I think this is something like program 192 or something. Remember, we're on 300 at the moment. This is Will King on Business Connections Live.
Hi, my name's Will King. I founded King of Shaves back in 1993, and I shave lives. I've done about 7 billion so far and counting. So in terms of business, look, the world we live in now, it's a very fast world, and it's very judgmental. It's what I call a rate or slate environment. So please, if you're starting a business up, make sure it's a great business, and make sure you think through why you're doing it, what your passion is, what the problem is you're solving, what the services you're providing, and why people should part with their hard-earned spends, their pounds, to spend money with you. Second thing is, impossible is nothing, just do it. I meet so many people who just talk about wanting to be an entrepreneur, call them entrepreneurs, and then don't do it. Now, fine, talk about it, but if you're serious about it, do it. Secondly, learn how to transfer your enthusiasm for what you do and why you're doing it. We live in a world now where trust and authenticity and reputation is absolutely key. Now, if you put a person behind a brand, you'll note there's DNA in the word brand, person, a bit of humanity. You can then hopefully leverage some of your skills through your business, product, service out to the end customer. Give it a face. That's why Branson's so successful. That's why Sugar's so successful. That's why Steve Jobs was so successful at Apple, because they projected out what they were doing and why through their brand. When it comes to then money and people and scaling your business, there are lots and lots of alternative finance channels available now for you to raise money. You might use Kickstarter, you might use Indiegogo, you might use Crowdkey, you might use Venture Founders, you might use Seeders, for example, many people do. But when you're raising money, remember that it's just as easy for other people to raise money as well, so make sure your product's great. And then the key thing when you're scaling your business, it's the velocity, it's the momentum. You've got to go very quickly from it being you to what's called delegating. That's delegating to great people. So the CEO of King of Shaves, a guy called Andy Hill, he joined me 20 years ago. He's now my CEO. And I delegated to him, delegated to him within a year and a half, 2 years of setting up the business. And we scaled the team out from there. As fast as you are and as much as you know you can do in the world, there's only one of you, and there's probably only 12 to 18 working hours in a day. So if you want to get bigger, you need to get more people involved in your vision and go out there. And at the end of the day, it's all about embracing change as a constant, being aware of threats coming down the track, always being there for people when you can be. Use as much social media channel as you can. That just puts a humanity to the brand. That's why I used to and still do co-tweet at King of Shaves on Twitter, or I am William King on Twitter there. And then I blog at Brand Royalty. So put out the content about your business and why people should even give you the time of day. And if they do, you never know, your clock might start ticking.
I think that is such good advice. I love that. Delegating. What a fantastic line to come up with. I will be using that myself in future, I think. Delegating, where you delegate to great people. Will King, King of Shaves, he was quite inspiring, actually, wasn't he, Steve?
He was, yeah. We were both very intently listening to that, weren't we,
Yes,
Steve?
indeed.
And
It was fantastic.
it was great. I thought his comment about, doing it again is so relevant. People, don't take action. People, I'd say number one reason that marketing doesn't work is it doesn't get done. It simply doesn't get done. And they have good intentions of picking up the phone and going on to LinkedIn and so on. And they don't do it. And that's one of the big reasons why businesses are not as successful as they could be.
I think what's been interesting for me during the lockdown is there were so many things that I was going to get done. And I have achieved so few of them. And from not only from a business perspective, I've got a macerator upstairs in the upstairs loo that needs replacing. I was going to do that, haven't got round to it. I was going to lay some flooring, haven't got round to it. But I have been very busy doing other stuff, but not the stuff I intended to do. And I think maybe sometimes that time management is the thing that lets us all down. And there's always something slightly more important to do than the stuff we should be doing.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. I always remember my dad telling me off when I was a young boy. He used to say, "I've got too many gunners. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that," and I finish up doing nothing. And I think I've changed to certainly some level over that time. But yeah, we've all got so many demands of our time. But and often what happens with marketing, it gets left to a time when we're not very busy. We've not got much to do. And so you get this sort of, businesses going like that. When they're not busy, they start marketing. So they get busy, they stop marketing, and they get not busy again, and they start again. And it just goes from, one hill to one valley.
If we were to cut out all the, are you okay there?
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
So,
If we were to cut out all the, dare I say this, the bullshit that goes on in the world out there. I mean, I've just received this book here from. Have you come across it? Traffic Secrets.
Russell Brand.
This is the guy that's put together. Was it Funalytics or
Trying to remember now. ClickFunnels.
ClickFunnels? Yeah, he's the guy in it, and there's a guy that knows how to market. He's very good at marketing his product and his brand, and it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And so this book, by the way, is a free book. You just pay for the postage.
Yeah.
So so I thought, well, I'm going to go through the whole process. I tell you what, once you're in his web, it is very difficult to drop out. I am in his ClickFunnel right now, and I know it. I really do know it. But if we were to cut all the bullshit aside now, would you say that the easiest thing that we could all do as business owners is do what you're doing, and that's to make a video a day where we share our expertise and some advice.
Yeah.
And phone 10 people a day from our LinkedIn. And if we get through the 10 people, so be it. But, talk to 200 people a month. We've made contact with them on LinkedIn. I don't want them there for numbers. I want the people that are on LinkedIn, fundamentally, I want to do business with.
Yeah, I would say that's a really good start, isn't it, Steve? Just picking up the phone and calling 10 people a day. If you're not doing that and you did that, even if you were rubbish, you'd probably win some business. And then what you've got to do is think about, right, how can I, again, know your numbers. How many calls does it take me to get a meeting? That is a really key number. Once you know your numbers, you then work on improving that, and get those numbers so that I know I get one meeting for every 10 calls that I make, and I turn half of those meetings into new business. Therefore, for every 20 calls I make, which takes me, let's say 2 or 3 hours, that equals £1,000 worth of new business. And that's either a great deal or a terrible one. And for most businesses, that would be a pretty good deal. And once I know that, I can then work out, right, what do I need to do to improve my conversion rate? And also, how can I make more calls? Do I need to employ somebody to do this? Do I need to allocate more time to do it? Because I know that for every 3 hours, I'm getting £1,000. Most people will be quite happy with that number. And so get that as good as we can, and then look at the next system. That would be my advice. Once we've got that working, like clockwork, it's a machine that brings in money. You then go and look at Russell Brunson's ClickFunnels, perhaps,
yes,
or the HubSpot or LinkedIn, and work out how to do the same thing there. But again, just going back to what I've said, it's not that you're doing the wrong marketing, you're doing the right marketing in the wrong way. And people behave like butterflies. They go, oh, I've tried emails, that doesn't work. And I tried LinkedIn, and that doesn't work either.
That doesn't work either, no.
They just go from flitting from one thing to another, trying stuff that doesn't work because they don't stick at it.
Steve, I could talk to you all afternoon. I find you absolutely fascinating, and I find a font of all knowledge. And I apologise now for telling you to shut up earlier on, but you were rattling on at the time.
That's all right. I'm thick-skinned, Steve.
And boy, we need to be in this game. I always ask our guests to do a summary of the hour, and I think that would be well worth doing right now. So if you could give us a kind of if you could sum up what we've been saying, what we've been talking, what we've been doing. Sorry, probably a little bit quiet there. If you could sum up what you've said in the past hour, and the thing that's important about this sum up is that this is condensing the program. It is a call to action, but it's more than that. So this should be able to be watched in its own right. So if you could give us the key takeaways of what you've said today, the processes that we should be looking at. Will took 3 minutes. You can take as long as you want, Steve. So say who you are and where you're from, and the airwaves are all yours.
Thank you, Steve. So we could be another couple of hours here. You realise that, don't you? No, so I'll try and keep it fairly reasonable in terms of time. So the number one thing I'd say is action is the key. You know, you must take action, and you must take action now. And when I say take action, what I mean is we're all in lockdown, or we've been in lockdown. We're starting to come back. And if we just open and don't do anything from a sales and marketing perspective, then I think we're going to reap a reward, and that reward is not very good. I also spoke about the fact that what was is no longer. So if you were the leading person in your industry, or in your niche, or in your area, it doesn't mean you're going to be so in the future. If you were a really popular business and you had loads of clients, and you ran a restaurant that was always busy, that's not necessarily going to be the case when we start back. So we've got to look at the key right now, I think, is to plan what you're going to do to get you from where you are now, and that could be anything from closed to perhaps struggling, to get you back to where you were. That's the number one thing. And then secondly is to go from, right, once we're back there, step two is to how do we move forward from there and do even better than we've done. And to do that, we've got to become more effective at selling and marketing. That's the bottom line. You know, if you want to get your business from turning over what you're turning over now back up to where it was, there's only one way of doing that, and that is to become better at selling and marketing. So I suggested that you look at each and every element of your sales and marketing. You work out what is the result that you're currently achieving. So you know your numbers, you know how much business you're winning on LinkedIn and so on and so forth. And then you select just one of them and decide to really become an expert, become outstandingly good, not average like all the other businesses, but become really, really good at one thing. Once you've done that one thing, you then go and do another thing, and then another, and then another. So you've now got 3 or 4 elements of your marketing that for every pound you spend, it's bringing you 10 back. For every minute you take, it's bringing you, an amount of money. And it's a profitable thing because, one of the big problems with marketing, it's not that, marketing shouldn't ever be a cost. There's only a small test in that cost. So, that would be my advice, really. I suppose just to reiterate, now is the time to take action, not when everything's back to normal and some young business has overtaken your market, taken all your customers and disappeared off into the distance with all your cash and your money and your profit. Let's do something now in order to get back to normal. Or get back to some form of normality as soon as possible. So that's it. If you want to know more from me, my website's www.stevemills.co. Very happy to have a one-to-one meeting with anybody. You can use my website and gain access to my diary and book yourself a time to meet. I'd be very happy to talk to you. I don't do hard sales. We can just have a conversation about your business, what you're doing. I'll try and provide you with some tips and insights like I've been doing on the program today. And if at the end of it you feel as though you want to work with me and I feel as though you want to work with you, then great. So I hope that sounds a good deal for everybody. And that's it. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank Steve for getting me on the program, because it's great to be here. Steve's a great guy. His team are fantastic. He really is a star. And also, congratulations, Steve. 300 programs.
300
I'm
programs.
Honored to be your 300th.
Where did all those years go? It is amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah.
One day it'll make us money.
Good. You do so much good out there every week. There's the opportunity for people to learn more ideas from the experts that you bring onto the program and from yourself. So on behalf of everybody listening today and those who have done so in the past, a big thank you to you and your team.
Listen, thank you very much. I thought that was unexpected, but well rehearsed. Thank you ever so much. Listen, it's been a pleasure having you on the program as well, and you're a regular contributor, and you come on. It is going to be tough out there, regardless of what we all think at the moment. It's going to be difficult for many business owners. There's still a lot of businesses that are going to probably go to the wall. Through no fault of their own. They were probably sailing along quite happily. There's going to be consultants out there who are going to have to change the way that they do things now. Maybe the phone is going to be the way back. And I love the whole idea of that I'm always in this quandary. Do you go after the numbers? Do you do a lot of marketing to high numbers, and then you get your 3 or 4% as a result back from that? Or are you more focused and go after in the way you're doing? You talk to 10 people a day, 200 a month. You focus on one particular topic and you become the perceived expert in that. I think that's actually a very, very clever way of doing things. And I think for a lot of smaller organizations, for a lot of smaller consultants and businesses, that's probably the right way to be going down the line at the moment. So can I thank you for your advice today? And thank you for coming on a Wednesday. It's a lovely sunny afternoon. I think it's time to get out. Are you wearing shorts, by the way?
I am. I actually am, yes.
Strangely.
I'm dressed with I put my shirt and tie on for you, Steve, and I've got shorts and slippers, I'd hasten to add.
Well, if it's any consolation, Steve, it's exactly my attire as well. I'm wearing a jacket and shirt and a pair of shorts, and I'm very comfortable.
Show the listeners, do you? I think I might scare them.
I think you're probably right. Listen, Steve, thank you ever so much for joining us on the program. I'll catch you. Don't hang up. I will talk to you in just a second. Okay. Steve Mills there on today's edition of Business Connections Live. Thank you very much indeed for your company. We do hope you've enjoyed today's program, and hopefully you found it interesting. Thank you very much for all the comments as well on YouTube, LinkedIn, and on Facebook. If your name didn't come up, I do apologize. But maybe if you join us again, not next week. We're in studio next week. We're actually, in a way, we're nearly back to normal, but we're in studio next week doing a shoot. But the week after that, we'll be back again with another business program, and look forward to your company then. Been battling against broadband today, so obviously it must be busy out there. A lot of people working very hard from home. If we have been stuttering or maybe not as smooth as normal, then I do apologize. I can see that the background is kind of moving in jerks at the moment. But, it's not about the look sometimes. It's about the content, and it's about the information that you share. And that's what we've been doing today. And I hope you found the information that we've shared with you today useful for your business and for helping you get out of lockdown. Till we do it all again in a couple of weeks' time. Take care, look after yourself, and be safe out there. From me, Steve Hyland, and Steve Mills, it's bye for now. Bye-bye.
Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel.